Did you know that most students who have won 5 figures or 6 figures in scholarship awards have reused essays over and over to get there? That might be surprising to you, but just this week I spoke with another family that said that their daughter, who received over $40,000 in outside scholarships using the scholarship system, reused 5 or 6 core essays that she just was able to use over and over again to win all of that money. Now, between that $40,000 plus what she received from the university and some other tactics that we taught them, she will be graduating completely debt-free. And yet she only had to write 5 or 6 essays. And again, she is not the only one. That was the same thing for me. Once I got to college, I had one essay that I just resubmitted over and over with some small tweaks based on the prompts. And then also Kelane's daughter, she got over $92,000 by using, she said, about 5 essays. So it seems like that might be the magic number. But either way, my point is reusing essays can not only save your student tons of time, but it can also improve their chances of winning because we're not starting from scratch over and over. So that is what I want to cover in today's video. I want to show you, based on some very common essay prompts, how to reuse the same essay over and over. Now, make sure you click subscribe because every single week I'm releasing a new strategy when it comes to securing scholarships and paying for college without student loan debt. Hello, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we redefine paying for college to help families have strong financial futures without student loan debt. We primarily focus on securing scholarships because that is my bread and butter. I secured 6 figures in scholarships and received an overage check every semester. And I did so by securing tons of outside scholarships, which is what we're going to focus on writing essays for today. So let's recap something that I covered in a previous video where I talked about what to talk about in different essay prompts. In that video, I talked about an essay format. So we have a 3-part structure that we share inside the scholarship system. Part of that 3-part structure is first, a story or experience we can take from. Second, lessons or values we gained from that story. And third, the future impact of these lessons and values. So that is the structure that we want to follow when we're crafting this reusable essay. So again, just to recap, story, lesson or values, and then the future impact. Now, when I'm talking about story, what we want to do here is find a moment in our life. We don't want your student to write a story about their entire life, their entire background. Instead, we want to try and pinpoint a specific one. And then second, when it comes to values or lessons we're getting out of this, you can look up a values list, or for those of you that are members of the scholarship system, you can find in our cheat sheet a list of common values that your student can go through. And you can pick just a few with your student that mean a lot to them and tie them back to that story. Now, the third part of focusing on the future is how can we use these values to make plans for the future? Maybe it's impacting what major we're going into. Maybe it's impacting the school we chose, the career path we chose. Maybe it changed the way my perspective is on certain things. So what did we get out of this story and how are we going to use those values and lessons? That's the third piece. So let's just go over how to reuse the same one for some common essay prompts. So first, what are some common essay prompts? Well, you'll hear, tell us about yourself. Your student might have to write, why do you deserve this scholarship? Or what are you going to do with this scholarship? Or what do you want to be and why? Or name a time when you overcame a challenge, or name a time when you displayed leadership, name a time that you have shown service. So maybe we have to tweak the story, but a lot of times we can use a very similar story. Let me show you an example here. I am the oldest of 5. And by the way, I'm making this up as we go. I'm the oldest of 5. And so one thing that I learned as a young child was how long things would take with 5 children. And so as the oldest, I found that efficiency could really help us. So my story could be an example. Say it is when my father was injured. He had a bad accident at work. My mother was pregnant with my youngest brother. And I do still remember this, which is crazy. But we needed to chip in. We needed a help. And so what I decided to do was when mom came home with the groceries, we passed the grocery bags from the car into the house. We created a little assembly line. Now I could transition to the lessons that I learned from this. I could say, little did I know that efficiency would be such a priority for me, not only then as a child to survive this challenging time for our family, but it would actually lead to a career in operations management. So for those of you that don't know, I have my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and it's all about efficiency. So now I just tied it to my future. That passion of efficiency started when I was young, but it grew into so much more. And I can give a few more examples, a few more stories of how efficiency has been impactful in my life. And then I can say, tie it to the future, remember? So started with a story, we picked a value, efficiency, and now let's talk about the future. So I can say, this is why I'm majoring in operations management, and I want to pursue a career in this so that I can continue my passion for efficiency that I have started at such a young age. So that's quickly just a rough how I use that structure, and that 3-part structure that I talked about, and now I have my core story, okay? Now the great thing is, I just answered, tell us about yourself, right? I told them how important efficiency is and how it's impacted my family. I shared a little bit about our family struggles. I shared about the future. Why do you deserve this scholarship? So I can actually turn this a little bit and say, in the end, this is why I deserve this scholarship, because it will help me pursue this career where I can make an impact in operations management, right? So I can just use the same essay, but then add a little bit, a little piece to finalize answering that prompt. We want to make it very clear that we did answer the prompt, not that we're just reusing an essay. Then there is, what do you want to be and why? Of course, I did answer that one. And then there's name a time that you overcame an obstacle. Well, that was a challenging time for my family. So maybe I just add a little bit of embellishment to that part of it, but then I show how I got a lesson from it and how I'm going to use it moving forward. So that is just a perfect example of reusing. And in fact, actually one more is name a time that you displayed leadership. Well, that was certainly a time as well, right? I wrangled in all my siblings and I took control, and then little did I know it was also showing me my career path. So boom, I just wrote 5 essays with the same story, same value, and same future impact, okay? This video, by the way, is absolutely gold. So I really hope that you thumbs up this one and hit subscribe, because I know that this is going to save your family and your students so much time when it comes to writing essays. That said, the next step when it comes to writing these essays is finding the scholarships, finding legitimate scholarships with less competition so that you can submit this essay over and over. So you and your student, you can work on building that list together. So what I did was I created a free 6-step training. You can find the link down in the description. It says free webinar, where I cover exactly how to build that scholarship list of how to find legitimate scholarships and the ones that have less competition. So make sure that you check that out. Comment below, are there any essay prompts that you're seeing over and over that I didn't cover? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can spin this story to fit that essay prompt as well. I think it'll be a little bit fun for us. And if you haven't already, check out the other video I talked about with scholarship essay ideas, where I go into each of these individual prompts and I share specific ideas on how your student can answer them, as well as what committees are looking for when they ask them. So there we have it. So we talked about how your student can reuse the same exact story and essay for 5 or 6 different essay prompts. Now again, remember, when we are reusing, we want to make sure that we tweak it a little bit so that we are very clearly answering the actual essay prompt. Also, you want to make sure that your student is meeting any other kind of criteria. Maybe it's word counts, for example, whether it's a maximum or a minimum. So you do have to tweak the essays, but the core part of the story is already there and written, which is so helpful. Again, that's how a lot of students have gotten to 6 figures in scholarships, not to mention saving so much time and sanity when it comes to having to go through this process. And then don't forget that 3-part structure of using a story, getting a value or lesson from it, and then talking about the future impact. That structure is so important. I cannot stress how important it is, so that the scholarship committees can clearly follow what your student wants to say, and also it makes it more memorable. So there's lots of different reasons why it is so powerful. Again, in the scholarship system, we cover it in more detail. But for now, I think we gave you a lot that you and your student can work with. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.